What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Hope everyone's having a great day today. So, I'm wearing a hat, obviously, which I don't ever do. And the irony about this hat is the Braves hat. I don't even watch baseball. I just happen to have this hat from when I was a kid. And I pulled it off the shelf randomly. So here we are, because I have really bad headphone hair because I've been playing video games all day. But anyway, welcome back to the channel. Everyone's having a great day today. So today's video is going to be actually kind of interesting because it's a story that I haven't told in several years. And the last time I told the story, we didn't even have 100 subscribers. So this is going to be the whole story for a lot of you guys and where the build came from. I think I briefed over it in the POV drive video as well, if you guys haven't seen that. But again, there's a lot of you guys here, and I wanted to do like just a fun little sit-down story kind of day. Obviously, the tripod, which is behind me actually, is still out of commission until we can get the little stabilizer piece fixed. Michael's currently out of town, so he's not down here to help out with that. But yeah, this is the stabilizer piece. But anyway, once he gets back down here, we'll fix that and the tripod again. But I actually kind of like this V right here from my desk. It feels a little bit better. But so today's video is actually going to be kind of a sit-down story about the entire history of the truck build, where it came from, and that kind of stuff. I'm really excited to talk about this because, again, a lot of you guys don't know the whole story where the truck came from. So this is going to be really cool. So I'm going to take a brief pause for a second when I close this door because it's echoing like crazy and it's driving me crazy. Alright, so had to close the office door because it was echoing out in the bedroom, and that was going to reverb back onto the camera, and it was going to sound like garbage. So anyway, what's the whole story of the truck? So a lot of you guys probably didn't even know who I was back in 2016 when I got the truck. I uploaded the video the day after I got it, filmed in landscape actually, or portrait mode, on my iPhone 5C because that's all I had at the time. I have on an iPhone 10 now. But I had a 5C and I filmed in portrait, selfie cam, I believe. It may not have been selfie cam, it may have been the outside camera on the 5C. But anyway, I filmed it in portrait. It was awful, but it was very cold. I think it was 20 something degrees that morning, and for whatever reason I went out there in a t-shirt, shorts, I believe, and some sandals, which is a common thing I do now. I tend to not put on shoes. I wear socks all the time, so I tend to just pop on sandals, full line detective style. Socks and sandals. But anyway, I went out there and recorded in portrait mode with my old Adamson one hat on, which I still have around here somewhere. Filmed the reveal for the truck. It was not cinematic because back then I didn't even really care about cinematics that much. I do care a lot about it now. I just don't have any sort of skill in it, and I don't really want to try. This channel is not going to be a cinematic channel. I'm going to have like cinematic videos, like reveals and stuff like that, which will be cinematic, but cinematics are not going to be a big thing on this channel at all. So anyway, it was just a quick, hey, there's my truck. I had just turned 16 a few months prior. I turned 16 that 2015 or August 2015. So that was that around that time period. So it had been a few months with my license but no car. So the truck kind of came out of nowhere. So pretty much that's where the story begins, is the night we got it, the day before that video went live. Pretty much what happened is that morning, me and my mom were goofing off. We're goofing off on the internet. I believe it was a Sunday or a Monday, and we were goofing off around on the internet, just looking at cars on car websites. Back my junior year, I skipped school a lot. I was not at school very often junior year. So I tended to stay home with my mom because my mom at the time, this was before she was a court reporter, and she left the house a lot. So this was like I believe it was the last year she wasn't a court reporter. So she was a medical transcriptionist previously. So we were just sitting there on a computer browsing car sites, and it's actually something I do a lot now. I tend to browse just for fun car websites like Car Gurus and stuff like that for cars I really like, just out of curiosity about the market. I tend to do that with Camaros, Corvettes, Mustangs, S2000s, Supras. I tend to do that a lot with just a lot of different cars. If I'm interested in it, I'll go and see just out of curiosity how expensive they are. So by that time we were doing it legit. We had like a price bracket, like a price cap about $3,000, I think, and we had narrowed it down to 3 cars, 2 of which that I knew about, and that was a Jaguar X-Type, which was kind of random, but I really wanted something kind of comfortable and kind of flashy. and it was a Jaguar, and I was like, yeah, a Jaguar would be kind of cool, except my mom was like, well, you're an enthusiast, and who the heck's going to be an enthusiast at 16 rocking an old, long Jaguar? I mean, it was pretty much the epitome of the old man spec. It was silver with a beige interior. I remember it was an X-Type 3-liter, so it was the V6. And I was like, yeah, that makes kind of sense. So while I was big on it because I really liked the luxury cars, I was like, yeah, a Jaguar would be kind of cool for a first car. That one I'm not working out because we talked to my dad on it. My dad was like, I do not want to deal with Jaguar maintenance. So that kind of got pushed off the side. And I wasn't really too butthurt about it because I wanted something kind of a bit more fun than an X-Type, because the X-Type is just a big bloated Jag. So the next car up on the list was one that I really wanted, and I was not happy about it when we didn't get it. And I'll go into why that happened here in a second. But it was a 2001 Honda Accord V6 Coupe, and this is the time I was not able to drive stick. Because of my fine motor skills never fully developed because of my ASD, which I've talked about in the past. I don't want to spend too much time on it, so I'm just going to breeze over that. It was an automatic red 2001 Accord V6 Coupe. So the one that everyone joked around looking like the NSX in the back, which I actually really liked because I kind of liked that comparison. I was like, yeah, it's like a harken to the NSX. So I really wanted this car. They didn't have any pictures of it. It was just stock photos. But my parents really liked the car, the idea of the car, a red Accord V6 Coupe. So they paid, I think, like close to $50 to get the VIN checked on it. Turns out the odometer was rolled back, so we were like, okay, we can probably get a few $100 off for them lying about the car by having 100,000 miles less on the ad than it actually had. The car was shown as having like 120,000 miles on it on the ad, and the VIN check showed it had 220,000 miles on the ad. I don't even remember the name of the dealership, so I can't really smack talk them too much. Ironically enough, it was named something else, and that's where my mom got her first Dodge, which was a huge clunker, her first Caravan. So anyway, I was like, okay, so that's not that big of a deal as long as the car's in good shape, it runs well, it looks fine. So we were like, okay. So my dad pretty much drives by that dealership on the way home from work every day. So my mom asked him, hey, can you go stop at this dealership and just take a peek at this car? My dad was like, sure, whatever. So we went out shopping in the local city close by to us. So it was me, my mom, and my siblings. We stopped in a store that my sister really wanted to stop by. It was a little clothing store. As we're walking around, me and my mom are going back and forth with my dad on updates on this Accord. My dad texts us. He says that car was junk. The paint was peeling. The tint was peeling. The car barely was able to start, and someone else was buying it, actually, when he got there. So they tried to sell him on a couple of the cars. There was a 350Z Roadster, which had duct tape holding its roof on, and I think he said it was an Acura CL that didn't even have a headlight, or it was missing its headlights. So my dad was like, no. And I was heartbroken because I was really excited to go and look at this Accord V6 Coupe. I was like, yes, this is, the perfect, automatic, of course, entry-level enthusiast car for me. An Accord V6 with that I forgot the code for that engine, but it was strong. It was actually really related to the NSX engine. It just wasn't the exact same. So I was very heartbroken. So we went home. My mom pretty much, my parents decided right then and there they were going to go look at this truck. And they told me just keep my shoes on, don't do anything, don't get comfortable, just sit and wait. So I did just that. We got home. I sat on the ottoman of the chair, still upset about not getting this Accord, and waited for my dad to get home. And it was maybe about 10-15 minutes later. My dad walks in the door. All right, let's go. We hop in the Mustang. We drive out to a little town in Georgia called Rockmart. And if you don't know that area in Georgia, Rockmart is a very rundown old town. Like it is, middle of the sticks kind of place. Just it's not a great city. So it's very old, to say the least, and it works. I mean, the city's been around for ages, and it has a good bit of people living there, but it's old. So we get there, we get to this little house in the middle of nowhere, and in the driveway is this blue Explorer Sport Trac. And at the time I was like, it's alright, I don't really think I'm going to do anything with it, which was honestly the plan all along. I was never going to modify it. It was going to stay stock the entire time, and it would still be stock right now, and I'd be driving it to the ground right now. So then when we get there, we get out of the car, and at the time the truck was completely bone stock, and it had nothing done to it. That door handle that we just replaced recently, that back door handle, was already snapped off at this point. The handle itself was still on there. It wasn't like completely sheared off like it had been since last February. but it was still broken off. It didn't work. Had the stock seats up front, had the stock center console, which was a bag because it's an XLS trim, so it never had a full-length console, and it had a bag. So, I mean, you zipped it to put stuff in it. I never actually used it for anything other than storing the owner's manual in it, because it did have the owner's manual. It had business cards and everything from 2003 from the dealership it was got from. It was from a Wade Ford in Smyrna. So the truck pretty much won us over immediately. It had one major issue at the time when we first got it, and that was the oil leak that is still on it, the valve cover gasket leak. The power steering leak kind of the leak developed over time, but the valve cover leak was there from the very beginning. So we got it home. We went home, contemplated it. My dad really liked the truck. The guy was asking $4,000 for it, and my dad was like, the truck has 213,000 miles on it. One thing, we asked the guy if he knew what a timing chain was and knew if it was done. My dad knew that those 4.0s are notorious for timing chain failure. And the guy was like, what is a timing chain? And we were just like, oh, he doesn't know. So that was like one of the big things we docked off, some of the money for, besides, the broken door handle, the leaking oil, and just little in and out, like cosmetic, like imperfections and stuff like that the truck's had forever. So offered him $3,000. He took it, like first offer. So we went that night back out to the middle of nowhere and brought the truck home. And it's been history ever since. Ever since then, the truck's gotten a multitude of upgrades: wheels, tires, suspension, intake stuff, which I still really hate that intake. I talked about it before. I mean, we had people asking last night in the stream, when you guys have seen this video last night at least, about the intake, and I, went about how bad it was and recommended several different options, because the Spec-D intake's just garbage. Don't ever buy the Spec-D intake for these trucks. But, it's been through a lot since then, and I love the truck to death. I don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon. And like I've said, and like you guys have seen the last couple of videos, this is just the beginning, Like I said, like a few minutes ago, I never actually planned on modifying the truck. I planned on keeping it stock and driving it to the ground and replacing it with an actual enthusiast car. But I wound up turning it into my enthusiast car. A lot of people around here know me for the truck. They don't know, they obviously know me because it's the only car I've ever owned. But still, it's turned the truck into kind of like a cool little recognition piece, if you will. While a lot of the community out here pushes me to the side because of what it is, I still enjoy it. I've made tons of friends that have even learned to like them. I mean, Hayden, for example, was a very big doubter when I first met him. He told me how when he first met me and Michael, for example, he was like, why? And he's always, ever since then, he's been supportive of the build. Michael was pretty much, I always say this all the time, Michael was the reason I modified it in the first place, because we were sitting in our class, me and him have known each other, like I said, since the 8th grade. We were in our 12th grade literature class, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do anything with this thing. I'm just going to drive it till the wheels fall off and get rid of it then. And Michael was like, well, why not just, because I was talking about getting rid of it and getting a Miata. That was what I was really big into at the time. I really wanted an Miata. And Michael was like, why don't you just build what you have now? That makes more sense to me. And that's where the build began. Pretty much, like I've said, if it wasn't for Michael talking me into modifying the truck, this would never have happened. So I have to give him some credit on that one for convincing me on that. It really wasn't hard. I mean, all he had to do was say that, and I was off to the races. But the truck is, where it is today because of that decision I made then. So that's kind of like the backstory behind where the truck came from. And obviously, it's not going anywhere. I know I planned on selling it a long time ago when the transmission grenaded, and I was very big on that. I was really trying to get rid of it. And even when I was talking about getting a second car last year, I didn't ever plan on getting rid of it. I planned on just having like a little friend for it, little buddy. So while that didn't wind up happening, I've decided just to go full on, just balls to the wall with this truck build. And like I said, this isn't, this is just the beginning. So you guys have seen, we're working on a new engine for the truck. I haven't really decided what route I'm going to go yet. I'm still like trying to work out the inner findings of everything. If it'd be better for just to replace the short block, or just get a full new long block in general and just transfer everything over, or whatever. So I'm working towards it. We're going to figure out the specifics very soon, because I should have, everything, the money side dealt with by, very, very soon to get this done. as well as the other projects we have. The exhaust and the headlights and stuff like that are very, very soon to be completed. I just got to get bulbs for the headlights, which I'm pretty sure I might wind up buying before the month is. I plan on buying the MagnaFlows by the end of this month, but I think we're going to wind up getting the headlights first, because I feel like that it's the least expensive and it'd be the easiest to do. It's something we can knock out in a weekend and it'd be done. The exhaust, we know. Anyway, I still need stuff. I still need a lot of stuff, not just the MagnaFlows, but that's really it for this video. So that's all I gotta say. So that's the backstory on where the Sport Trac came from and where it's going. I'll try to remember to put some pictures throughout this video. I probably didn't, but I'm just saying maybe I did, so you guys can see kind of the progression in picture form of where the truck's been. I have to see if I can find enough pictures to do that. But anyway, guys, hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, everyone.